Hi guys, Tracy here again with another weekly video on the right way, and this week I'll be talking about Nasus, the creator of the Sense. Nasus is a champion designed to be a tank with a variety of spells that can slow, reduce armor and dealing AoE damage over time. He excels mainly in the late game, and he can be used both in the jungle and the top lane bruiser. But for this video we'll be talking about how jungle Nasus works. There are two setups you can use on jungle Nasus. One being the standard move speed queens, where you have 3 move speed queens, which is followed by the 9 attack speed marks. So this focuses mainly on pursuing enemy with the additional move speed and applying the red buff with the attack speed marks. The other rune setup that I will be talking about will be focusing mainly on burst, which will be 2 physical damage and 7 armor pen marks, followed by 3 attack damage queens. So what this does is that it actually focuses more onto bursts, which in some cases you can't actually keep up with some of the high mobility champions in the game. So this will actually allow you to apply a quick burst and actually forcing a flash from the laners itself. As for the clear time between these two rune setup is mainly it differs by 5 seconds, where the faster rune setup will be the second one, which is focused more on 2 bursts, which are initial clear of 3 minutes and 0.5 seconds. So personally I don't think the runes will do much to your initial clear, so if you are comfortable with whatever and you have a different goal in the game, you can just go with either one of these setups. So as for mastery, it will be 9-21-0, where the defensive tree will remain the typical defensive tank tree, and focusing this time on tough skin and bladed armor for standard jungling tank. But the difference will be in the offensive tree, where it will have points either placed into the attack speed or the cooldown reduction. So this depends on your rune setup as well, and as your preference as well. So usually I'll put attack speed for the burst, so I can actually have additional attack speed when I'm clearing the jungle early on, or I'll go with cooldown reduction for my attack speed marks build, which is the first one. So for starters, I actually suggest the attack speed and move speed as and points being placed into cooldown reduction on the offensive tree, which is the sorcery. So what this actually is a simple setup on Nasus, so it's actually pretty decent, and most pro junglers actually use this. So as for item setup, I actually go for the typical machete start, which is the Hunter's Machete and 5 health pots and a Trinket of your choice, which I will start with the Warding Totem, which I'll talk about it later. This will then transition into the Spirit Stone, which will be later upgraded into the Spirit of the Ancient Golem. So one of the points I want to point out when building as Nasus is that cooldown reduction works best for Nasus, and it allows you to cast spell quicker, and also your Siphoning Strike, so you can stack up those stacks pretty fast as well. So it's really recommended to build cooldown reduction and a lot of health on Nasus. Of course you need armor and magic resistance as well. So as for boots of choice, I'll go with the boots of swiftness, as it actually provides you a passive reducing slow effects and a fixed movement speed, which is higher than most of the other tier 2 boots, except the mobility, but this will actually reduce when during a team fight, so I'll rather go for a boot of swiftness. So another thing I want to point out is the trinket. So if you didn't take a sweeping lance in the early game, you actually need to swap it out early, or you can actually get a ping ward, so you can actually get dragon control, as Nasus actually excels in taking dragon on his own. So moving on, as for the tier 3 items, I actually like to get a Shin early on if I'm doing well. If I'm not doing well, I'll just go for the Giant's Belt on the Sunfire Cape build. So if I actually get a Shin, you can actually upgrade this into the Iceborne Gauntlet or the Trinity Force. So the thing about Shin is that it actually works very well with your Siphoning Strike, so as you can actually stack and actually apply the Shin passive on it. So this depends on your preference as well, so it's really up to you, but I really recommend Shin on Nasus, as it actually works really well. So another thing, if you're actually facing on AD Com, you can get a Frozen Heart or Sunfire Cape, as well as a Randuin. And for magic resistant com, you actually can consider the Spirit Visage or the Banshee Veil. But I'll go with Spirit Visage because of cooldown reduction as well, as I pointed out earlier. So other items you can actually consider will be the Thorn Mail, the Locket of the Iron Solari, Banshee Veil, Mars Impaler, and the Trinity Force, depending on if you need more damage or not. So that's it for the basic champion setup for Nasus, and I will show you a few clips soon, and to show you the strengths and weaknesses of Nasus and the things you should and not be doing as Nasus. Enjoy! So now I'll be talking about Nasus in terms of ganking. Nasus doesn't excel too well in ganking because of the lack of hard CC, which is the stun. But a good practice when it comes to ganking on Nasus will be to actually work well with your laner, one, and the second will be coming in from the back of the opponent's laner, so that you can actually pull off a surprise gank onto the opponent's laner. So next up I'll be talking about Nasus in terms of ganking from the bush. So this is a bit tricky, but with proper timing and knowing the opponent doesn't have an escape will be very good in ganking from the bush. So as you can see in this clip, Gangbang went for the harass onto Fiora, and I came out for the bush since I know he doesn't have escape, and a quick reader and a good reaction from my laner actually leads to a kill. So one thing as Nasus is that you don't waste time ganking, but if the opportunity arises, you should actually go for the gank. As you can see in this clip, I'm actually coming back from behind the opponent's bottom lane, which because I know there was no ward, so a quick reader onto Draven leads to a first kill, and a very nice grab from this guy actually leads to the double kill, which will then put the advantage for my bottom lane. So another thing that Nasus actually excels in is that he can actually do solo dragon by level 6. So as you can see, I actually have a Spirit Stone and a Ruby Crystal, and I actually use my Sweeping Lens, which I actually mentioned that you should actually clear it during your first pack, so you can actually control dragon when you are 6. So as you can see, I actually reached level 6 and actually managed to pick up the dragon, which will actually help you team out a lot, even though you don't gank as Nasus. So another beauty about Nasus is that he actually pushes towers really fast with the help of his Siphoning Strike, which is your Q. So if you actually farm up in the early game, you can actually push towers really fast, even without your team, since your Siphoning Strike actually is applied onto towers as well. As you can see here, where we actually took out the tower really fast, even before the enemy team reacting, and we actually managed to pick out a couple of kills when the tower went down. So as I mentioned earlier, where Nasus actually excels in pushing towers, he also does well as a speed pusher, where he can actually pushes the lane very fast with the help of the Iceborne Gauntlet, as well as your E, where you can actually clear minion waves really fast. So Nasus excels as a speed pusher as well. After seeing the things Nasus actually excels in terms of speed pushing or ganking, there's one important aspect to playing a good Nasus, and that is stacking your Qs as much as possible in preparation of the late game. Compared to a top lane places, which will average about 300 to 400 stacks after 20 minutes, jungle Nasus will have a relatively lower amount of stacks due to a lower minion count. So what this means actually is that you have to minimize the amount of minions you kill without Siphoning Strikes, as more stacks lead to more damage, as you all know. So usually what should be done during jungling is that every time you visit a camp, you should be killing 2 minions with Siphoning Strike. So usually what you want to do is that you start off with a Spirit Fire and you kill a smaller minion first, and then you will slowly hit down the bigger ones, and you will finish it off with a Siphoning Strike. So you can actually pick up nice stacks every time, which is why you should be very diligent about your Q stacking, as another important point is that large minion actually gives you 6 stacks and 3 stacks for the smaller minions. So another thing is that if you actually manage this well, you'll be actually keeping up with a decent amount of stacks, and of course you'll be able to one-shot carries with the help of Spirit Fire and the Shin procs during the late game with a rather high amount of stacks. However, even if you manage your Siphoning Strikes well, you would still need some sort of lane taxing, where you actually, after a gank, it's actually recommended to actually help push the lane out and stacking the kills along the way, so that you won't actually fall off in terms of gold income, and actually you can actually keep up your stacks for the late game preparation. Besides being a late game monster or excelling in split pushing or taking down towers, one of the most feared aspect of Nasus is your Wither. So if you are a marksman, you should probably know that Nasus actually kills all your move speed and attack speed with his Wither, which is a non-avoidable skill, which is some sort of a hard CC, except that it's not a stun, but you will not be able to avoid it. However, you can actually cleanse it, so if you're actually playing Nasus, you have to be careful and actually notice the item build of your opponent. So you don't want to waste your Wither onto the opponent's AD carries. But however, if you actually build with a decent amount of CDR, your Wither will come out every 6 to 7 seconds during the late game, which is relatively fast, and cleanse actually takes a very long time to cool down. So the only downfall of Nasus has to be his lack of CC, where he's unable to help heal for his carries, since he doesn't have any form of stuns to actually reduce the pressure on your own marksman. But however, he excels in destroying the marksman of the other team, and he actually takes a while to die thanks to his passive, which actually gives him a 20% lifesteal upon level during the late game. Yeah. So that's it for this week's The Right Way. If you enjoy it, do give me a video a like and subscribe to my channel, as it will help me a lot by helping my channel grow. Also, I have a Facebook page and Twitter, so you can actually follow those as well if you are a frequent visitor of either one of these social media platforms. So, thank you for watching, and that will be it for me. See you guys next week.